I did give a speech about mass immigration, and I was told that I should downgrade my speech from mass deportations to deportations. I was also asked to amend it in another way, which I refused to do, but I did downgrade. I took the mass deportations out. So I don't know whether this was the issue. I don't know what the reasons for this are, but I'm a man of logic, Dan, and I can't see any logic to the decision that the party made. And I don't in any way subscribe to unchristian behavior.
Breaking right now, Elon Musk is considering backing a rival party to Reform UK in a move that would split the British right and potentially make politics incredibly difficult for both the Conservative Party and Nigel Farage's Reform UK in the coming months. Now, this revelation was broken by the Financial Times overnight. And they report Elon Musk has expressed an interest in backing an alternative to Reform UK following a spat that erupted last week between the Populist Party's leader Nigel Farage and his most high-profile MP. The tech billionaire's allies say he has indicated that he would support a credible alternative party, according to people familiar with the matter, after Reform on Friday suspended Rupert Lowe. Reform claimed Lowe had been reported to the police over alleged threats of violence against the party's chair. The civil war has thrown Reform into disarray and threatens to overshadow the momentum the party had built from its extraordinary polling success, where its support has recently topped that of Labour and the Conservatives. One senior figure close to Lowe said there had also been discussions among former party officials about forming an alternative group to Reform, although they were clearly aware of the huge challenges it would entail. The person said, Rupert is a fighter, he's a bulldog, he won't be bowed by this, and they also report that he is considering suing Reform for defamation. Darren Grimes, what do you think? Could there be an alternative party on the right, maybe led by Rupert Lowe, but also including the likes of Ben Habib, Howard Cox, Neil Hamilton? I mean, really good people. You could even maybe bring Nick Tanconi and UKIP into the mix.
I mean, you've just listed a whole load of people who I've probably had dinner with at least once in my life, Dan. But listen, I think if you listen carefully, you can hear the shrieks of delight from the likes of Kemi Badenoch and Sir Keir Starmer, because that would be what would delight them the most. You split the insurgent right that is now developed around and coalesced around Reform, that actually the best chance we have of defeating the uniparty consensus, this happens once every 100 years. It was 100 years ago that the Labour Party smashed the Liberal Party to become a party of government / opposition. Reform stands a chance of being able to do that. The first time, certainly in many generations, that this has happened. We won't know this moment again, in my opinion. We have a golden opportunity to rewrite British politics. And if you want to ensure that Reform is the voice that you want it to be, hang around, stay around, actually stiffen the resolve, come campaign for people that you like and choose the ones maybe that you don't like. I don't care, whatever it might be, but don't squander this golden opportunity to actually change British politics. For too long, we've had two different sides of the same ugly old arse, if I can use that on your show, Dan. And we've had enough of it. The country's had enough of it. We are on our knees. We are a supplicant of the international stage. And I think actually Reform are the only opportunity that we have, because I don't think we've got another two general elections, actually. I think we've got this one coming up, 2029, by at least 2029. Otherwise, the game is up. And this project called Britain is over.
Yeah, because things are looking really bad already.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that. But one of the problems, I guess, Darren, is that we need the best minds. I want the best people in Reform UK. And I know we've got some news of your own to discuss on that in just a moment. But what I am concerned about is that won't some of the best and brightest now look at the treatment of Rupert Lowe and think, well, actually, why do I want to be part of this? Why do I want to take that risk? If you're Suella Braverman sitting in the Conservative Party right now, you think, well, why do I want to look at doing something like this when my reputation could be on the line? And it's very, very important that Nigel Farage surrounds himself with big voices, big names, very successful people who are able to save this country. That is what we need. Look at the power of Donald Trump's second cabinet post his re-election compared to his first. And before I get your reaction, Darren, I just wanted to show you what Rupert Lowe told me in this exclusive interview on Outspoken yesterday about how he ended up being treated.
Accusations is that I'm not a team player. Well, it's hard to be a team player when you're cut out of all the meetings and the press conferences. But it was suggested I should play my part. So I went and spoke in Kemi Badenoch's constituency in Saffron Walden, where I did give a speech about mass immigration. And I was told that I should downgrade my speech from mass deportations to deportations. I was also asked to amend it in another way, which I refused to do, but I did downgrade. I took the mass deportations out. So I don't know whether this was the issue. I don't know what the reasons for this are, but I'm a man of logic, Dan, and I can't see any logic to the decision that the party made. And I don't in any way subscribe to unchristian behavior in terms of making complaints 3 months after when you should have made it at the time.
Darren, your response.
We have to rely on whatever comes out from this independent member of the King's Council. Now, I know they've been hired by Reform, but at the end of the day, an independent report can only be that. It can only give you the details, and then people are free to make up their own minds as to what has and hasn't happened, because we're receiving two very divergent opinions here, aren't we? So I think actually you need to see in the fullness of time what comes out of all of that. I mean, you mentioned Donald Trump there, Dan. Donald Trump has had more scraps with people than I've had hot dinners, and he still managed to build a movement, a MAGA movement, that in 2024 united to be an electoral force that America has never seen before, and actually an incredibly diverse electoral force. Farage is winning over young people on the likes of TikTok. He's winning over certain groups as well who have never voted for right-wing parties before and always voted for the Labour Party. Certainly in my neck of the woods, there are people who would never ever in a month of Sundays vote Conservative, but they're saying I am going to give the Reform Party a go, and that's really exciting. I've been around in this game long enough now to know that this is a moment that you only get once in a lifetime, and I think we should seize that chance. I don't think we should squander it. If the Republican Party had said, come on, Elon, you fund us, we'll go with RFK and we'll set up a new party and we'll all go home and call it a day. Well, can you imagine what would have happened to the MAGA movement then? It would have been utterly destroyed. Are we willing to do that, Dan?
But first, this episode of Outspoken is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Now, every man knows the unbeatable feeling of a fresh barbershop shave, but what if I told you that you no longer have to wait weeks or even months between appointments to experience it? Introducing Manscaped's newest innovation, the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver, the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver is your go-to for precision and style every time. After so many shaving mishaps in my past, Manscaped has improved my grooming routine no end and my confidence with it. So what makes the Chairman Pro stand out? Well, it's all about versatility and precision. It comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. You have the skin-safe 4-blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And if a clean shave isn't your style, that's okay. Do what I do and switch to the skin-safe stubble trimmer to keep your stubble looking sharp and polished. Both heads are designed with skin-safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation, so your skin feels smooth and comfortable after every shave, reducing redness or discomfort. A standout feature that truly differentiates the Chairman Pro from the rest is the Flex Adjust technology. It's innovative and ensures a superior shave by allowing both blades and the pivoting head to seamlessly adapt to the unique contours of your face. If you want even more precision, on the right side of the bracket there's a precision lock. When you lock it, the blade head sits firm so you can achieve a more precise shave. It's also waterproof, which means that you can use it in the shower and just rinse it off under the sink. Get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Head on over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide, I'm one of them, who trust Manscaped by using the code Outspoken at checkout. That will give you free shipping and 20% off. That's manscaped.com, using the code Outspoken for free shipping and a whopping 20% discount on your entire order. You can just click on the link in the show notes below. But now, back to the show. Well, I don't think so, but what's been so interesting, of course, Darren, is it did take a long time for MAGA to sort of totally take over the Republicans, get rid of the rhinos. I think we held out hope, and I talk about we collectively, the Outspoken family. I'm sure you're part of it, Darren. We held out hope that reform was going to lead our own MAGA movement. You can understand why seeing someone like Rupert Lowe thrown to the wolves, chucked under the bus, shakes our confidence. And I think it's okay for us to express that, because we have to feel like we have the right people fighting for us. And yes, I totally agree with what you've said, with what Alison Pearson said, what most people say about Nigel Farage's electoral success. Absolutely, that is a key component. But another key component is the fact that we have people who are going to make sure that we do the tough things. And that does mean, let's talk about demography, let's talk about mass deportations. And I want to just go back to this FT article, Darren, because it's really interesting. Jeremy Hosking has weighed in. Now, for folk who haven't heard of Jeremy Hosking, he is one of the biggest funders of the right in the UK. He was a big backer in the past of the Brexit Party, a little bit for reform in recent years, but he's also behind Lawrence Fox and the Reclaim Party. And he had spoken out to the FT saying that the split was very disappointing. And he said reform needs to be gathering serious-minded people to its colours, not thinning their ranks. And he added that Reclaim would surely be enhanced by recent developments. I would hope that discussions might take place between Lowe and Reclaim. So there's another splintering, Darren, on the right. Reclaim, of course, is the party led at the moment, at least, by Lawrence Fox.
Yeah, I mean, listen to that. You can hear the cackle from Kemi Badenoch and cackle from Sir Keir Starmer. You know, you've got Chris Philp on X today tweeting like he is a member of Reform by talking about deportations and all these other things. They had 14 sodden years to do it, and they never did. So I just find all of this thing really, I wish it hadn't happened. I really genuinely do. I follow Rupert. We follow each other on X. I've shared his content many times before. I've never met the man, but I'm sure if I did, I would find him pleasant to actually be around. Of that, I've no doubt, and I would agree with him on much. But I still don't think that this is worth destroying everything that has been built in record-breaking time out with the bathwater, the baby out with the bathwater, because the baby is the Saving Britain price. And I really don't think we can do that. It makes my heart fill with dread to think of the idea of the Labour Party getting in with the Lib Dems in some ragtag coalition in which we would be so far up Ursula von der Leyen's arse that we might as well call ourselves the EU's poodle. That's exactly what we would be. All these other things like votes at 16, we might as well have votes for dead people, although the Labour Party don't really like pensioners at the moment, so there'll be a few of those. All of these things I think would deny Britain the chance to actually save itself from being completely consumed by the self-indulgent liberal madness, leftism, that has consumed it over the last few decades. And until we do that and root out the Blairism that the Tories were the guardians of, then the country is lost, Dan, utterly lost.
I mean,
I hope you can hear the sincerity in my voice there.
Yeah.
I understand people, but I am so terrified when I look around my nation. Newcastle is unrecognizable from what it was 10 years ago. I'll tell you that for free. And I'm sure everyone watching will say the same thing about their towns and cities too.
Yes, and I mean, I'm just looking in our live chat, Darren, and there's such a big, I guess, disagreement between folk. So, for example, Wishes says here, Darren, he won't deport, so why vote for him? How do you save Britain if these people remain? Others are saying, no. Like Proudly British is saying, Darren, you were talking big picture sense. We don't have the time to start again. Let's go with what we've got now. So there's a divide, is what I'm saying. There's a
Nigel
big divide.
has said he would deport. If you're here illegally, he has said you will be deported.
Although, did you see
That,
Rupert Lowe say that he was told that he couldn't use the term mass deportations in his conference speech?
So, yes. So, well, what is the definition of mass deportations? You know, I have no idea what Rupert means by that. And I think that is one area where the party does perhaps, and Patrick O'Flynn has said this in his brilliant pieces online, that actually the party maybe does need a better policy prospectus. And I would be all for that, to actually try and get a coherent view on what they're for and against. But I think it's quite clear that Nigel would deport illegal migrants. I don't think he's turned into some lily-livered liberal all of a sudden overnight. I've no idea what the backroom conversations have been and what the disagreements are internally. I'm not privy to those conversations, but I hope that they're sorted out and resolved sooner rather than later, because we could do like this, like a hole in the head.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is the issue. Of course, he has said quite clearly, though, that he doesn't believe that mass deportations are necessary. Well, he doesn't believe they're practical. Is viable. Is what Nigel Farage said, or viable. And of course, that is something that many of us strongly disagree with, Darren, strongly disagree with.
Yeah.
You go, Darren.
I do get that. And, no one looks around and more than I do and thinks, goodness gracious me, do these people have a right to be here? And if they don't, we ought to deport them. But I think you'll strongly find that on so many of the cases that we're seeing hideously in the press and the ECHR rulings that seem to come out in a daily deluge, so much so that I've started putting on a wig and calling myself the ECHR agony aunt, going through all of this madness. But I think Nigel is on the side of all of that. He wants to leave the ECHR to be able to deport these people. He's not leaving the ECHR just because he doesn't like European judges or whatever else that may be. He's doing it because it's in the national interest to do it. So I am confident that Nigel is on the side of the view that you've just expressed.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.